Hello and welcome to Forgotten Temples with your affable host, Mr. B. And you have rarely seen Mr. B so very surprised. I'm at a place called Svay Leu, which is, well, exceedingly surprising for myself because I didn't know it existed. I was on my way to see another temple and I just turned down this road purely on a hunch, and there's a temple here. There's also this music because there's a particularly merry monk who keeps banging out music. It's not wedding music and it's certainly not funeral music. It's just music. But it'll add a bit of flavour to this video. What is very strange is I've actually checked the satellite images of the temples in this area, and somehow this eluded me. It is marked on one of my super special maps, but I've got no idea how it got past me. I will have to investigate that. So, it's Svay Leu, the big bumper surprise that you and I will visit. So, are you ready for your 10 minutes of adventure in a far-off land to see something ancient? I do hope so, because at the end of this video, I'm going to show you the names of the two most stupidest people on the planet. Yes, indeed. And I can prove that, you see. The two most stupidest people will be revealed at the end of this video. So, hold my hand and up these stairs we shall go. Accompanied by the music, it's up the stairs we go. Now, this is part ancient, you see, and part concrete. And here, and isn't it beautiful? It's such a lovely, lovely setting. Here is this temple, and when I came round the corner, I was staggered. It's the wall that gave it away. But there's something I want to show you first, because there's a modern building here. Now then, as we go into the modern building, we see the lions, and as always, their faces are gone. Now, these markers here would have been in a line either side of a causeway, a pathway, like they are now, but of course they're much closer together. Now, in this building here, we have a rare treat indeed. So let's lower our voices some as we step forward, because here we have those special pieces of art that they've preserved. I mean, have a look at this. I mean, this has some lovely colouring on it, and I believe that this is how they would have been presented back in the past. But unfortunately, his head has gone. But that is not the case up here. We do have one that has his head. Now, I can't quote that as being ancient, but what I certainly can tell you, it's made of the right stone. So, is this an original piece? If so, trust me when I say it is remarkably rare. And here we have a collection of the artwork, the stonework that would have gone on top of the pinnacles, that the top of the temples, which is at the top of the shikras. So already we literally have found treasures. And this chap here I'm going to return to because I love the colours. And this is what I'm told they would have looked like in their original form. So we've stepped back in time already. And it's in this modest little hut the guardian of the temple lives. And here he is. Suksabai. Hello. Hello, he's a lovely chap. And here we have some monks. Hello. Now, this temple is very interesting. It has an absolutely amazing wall that is sort of curved on the edges. It's beautifully presented, and it's very stocky. Now, what it doesn't have, like temples that are in this area, there's a video on this channel of Svay Leu Temple, which is beautiful and has very detailed carvings. But this one has these shallow details on it. So it's very different from other temples in the area. The spacing is also very different. And there it is. We can still hear the music in the background as a very young monk scampers off to whatever adventures he'll be having today. So one can only imagine that in the center here was a statue, a deity of some sort, because these certainly do not belong here. It looks like they've just been placed because they're so offset. But I could be wrong. Of course I could. They could be offset because they've slipped and slided with the mud. And I ask you to think when looking at this image, what does it remind you of? It's more of a fortress, isn't it? Yes, some of the detailing would have been stolen, but this is a totally different beast to other temples that are in this area. And as I say, your reference point for that comment should be the temple called Sheri, which is an absolute darling. It's also a very rare delight to bump into a temple you didn't even know existed. But it must be me, I must have missed it on the map. But there's a couple of people that didn't miss it. And I promised you at the beginning to unveil and show to you the two most stupidest people in this area. I didn't just say I would reveal their names to you, I also said I would prove it, and I will now do that by simply turning around. Yep, though the two most stupidest people are Chia and Tia. Now, these two criminal masterminds who live literally in the back arse of nowhere thought they would, well, leave their name on an ancient historical site, and in such a lovely light blue as well. But I would suggest they didn't get away with it for very long, because, as I say, I'm in a tiny little village, and Chia and Tia, the criminal heads of their little organisation, were soon nabbed, I would say. This could be the stupidest graffiti I've ever seen. So there you go, that was Svay Leu. It was an incredible surprise for myself because I completely failed to see it. I will be having a very strong word with myself when I get home. And the monks here have joined me and they've agreed to say goodbye. So as always, it's been Mr. B of Forgotten Temples of Cambodia, and from the wonderful, wonderful countryside, myself and my new chums are gonna say 1, 2, 3, goodbye! Au contraire, thank you. Until next time, I wish you absolutely nothing but the very best. Take good care.